first drew you to advertising as a career choice?
What drew me to advertising was actually, in a weird way, I had no choice. Third generation advertising guy. My father's brother, my uncle, who was 15 years older than he, was in advertising, believe it or not, in the 1940s in Philadelphia. My father kind of took the baton from him, was in advertising, and I grew up with it. And so I've been making a living in the business since 1984. It's a long time. It's 30 years.
Do you still remember any commercials from your childhood?
So I remember a lot of commercials. Growing up in an advertising household, as we did, TV was more of a social event in those days. It wasn't a TV in every room. Like the family would gather to watch television. And we were told not to talk, during the commercials. We could talk during the shows. So I grew up kind of watching commercials. I remember a lot of commercials. I bet you most people of my generation would remember a lot of, and I feel kind of guilty saying this because they're usually decried as not very creative, but you remember a lot of jingles.
What do you think makes jingles memorable?
Among purists in the field, jingles are, laughed at, scoffed at, but God, you remember them. What do they call them? Earworms. They get in your head and you can't get them out sometimes. And you add that to, almost everyday exposure, 6 times a day. It's going to get in there. I can do, I could sing one for you. There was a kid's a hot cereal for children called H.O. Farina. And it was an animated cartoon. It was very rudimentary. If you saw it today, you wouldn't believe it was like a national broadcast cartoon. And it was a little story of Willie and Wilhelmina. And Willie trips on a rock. And he goes, every day I trip over that rock, Wilhelmina. And she says, move it, Willie. And he says, can't, too big. And I bet you I'm getting this word for word, if you could find it. And she says, I will. And he says, you're a girl. And she picks it up. And then the jingle comes up and it goes, strong Wilhelmina eats her farina. Like I said, I probably heard that 500 times, maybe more when I was growing up, because it was every weekend for about 8 years.